Hi, my name's David and welcome to a short video on how to disassemble the top end of the Ektelon D Racqet stringer. The tools needed are a 1/4" hex key, a 7/16 wrench. It's nice if you have a 7/16 socket hex key, and a hammer in case you need to persuade the bolts to loosen up a little bit. The first step is to take the 7/16 wrench, remove these 4 hex bolts. And the next step is to take the 7/16 hex. Actually, first of all, probably better to remove the spring-loaded knob here. Then you take the 7/16 hex, insert it into the bolts on the bottom here of the top end. And some of these are in pretty tight, so you may need to take a hammer and the hex key to persuade it a little bit to loosen up. Probably doesn't take a whole lot, but you want to be sure to go this direction on both. There's 2 bolts under here. Then you remove the bolts. And that's it. And you be sure to save these 2 bolts because they will be used in the upgrade kit. The next part of the video shows how to mount the 2-point system onto the existing Ektelon machine. The first is to take the mount kit, bracket kit for the throat end of the Racqet, take the spacer that's provided, and insert the 2 screws, and then mount these to the horizontal slide bar that was part of the existing Ektelon machine. Then you take the provided Allen wrench and make sure that the bolts are firmly tightened. And then you also want to make sure that the horizontal slide bar moves freely back and forth on the machine. And also please note that these Racqet mounting points are designed to rotate freely. That's part of the design. The next step is to take the top end of the Racqet, take the 2 screws that came with the machine that you removed when disassembling the top end of the Racqet system, and go ahead and insert the screws from the bottom. Make sure you get both screws started before you tighten them. Then you take the Allen wrench that was provided, make sure that they're both screws are snugged up before you do the final tightening. And then once the screws are snugged up, you want to give it a nice firm turn to make sure it's tight. And also please note that the mount system is designed on both ends to freely rotate, so it will fit the Racqet and whatever configuration the Racqet might be. Next comes mounting the Racqet on the new 2-point mounting system. Very simple to do. Once again, you want to make sure that the posts are centered between the 2 center mainsprings on the Racqet. And then you want to take the top support piece and place it down on the Racqet. Again, you want to make sure everything is tightened up. And then you spin down the threaded knob that will support the top piece. And of course, you want to spin it around and do the same. Once again, you want to make sure that the post is centered in the Racqet. Make sure that it's fully pulled back against the Racqet frame. You take the other top support piece, place it on the Racqet in the throat area. Use the other threaded knob. Kind of snug up the knobs a little bit. And then of course you want to be sure, this is a very important step, you want to be sure that you've that the racket is firmly against the support areas, and then you want to make sure that you tighten down the horizontal slide bar. This is a very important step, because if you do not, when you pull the string, the main strings, it will compress the racket and potentially crack a frame. So this is a very important step, is to make sure as a last step that the horizontal slide bar is tightened down. During the stringing process, it's probably a good idea to periodically check and make sure that the knobs remain tight. Do not over tighten them, because the neoprene used in the support area keeps the racket from moving around. And you're now ready to string the racket.